You know, for decades, whenever you talked about European industry, you were really talking about German industry. It was just a given. But that story is starting to change. A much smaller neighbor is quietly building a totally new model, and it might just be the one that's built for the future.
And yeah, for a long time, this was the undisputed truth. Germany was the powerhouse, the benchmark everyone else looked up to. I mean, their mix of industrial muscle, incredible engineering, and that laser focus on exports, it was the envy of the world. It was a model built to last, all about strength and stability.
But here's the thing. The race has completely changed. It isn't just about raw power anymore. Now it's all about agility, about speed, about being able to pivot on a dime. So you have to ask, is that incredible, finely tuned German engine still built for the right kind of race? And this is where the story takes a fascinating turn. See, while everyone was watching Germany, the Netherlands, well, they've been building a completely different kind of economic machine. It's nimbler, it's more connected, and get this, on some really important metrics, it's actually proving to be more successful in the chaotic world we live in today. Okay, so first things first. Let's really look under the hood of that German powerhouse. From a distance, that foundation looks solid as a rock, right? But if you get a little closer, you start to see some pretty uncomfortable cracks. And look, these aren't just temporary blips on the radar. No, these are symptoms of something much deeper. We're talking about growth that's basically stalled out. Business confidence, it's taken a nosedive. Energy costs are becoming a huge burden, and even productivity, the very thing Germany was famous for, is slowing down. These are some serious warning signs.
To put it simply, the German economic model was perfectly designed for a world that, well, doesn't really exist anymore. It's like having the perfect key for a lock that's already been changed. Its greatest strengths are now becoming misaligned with what the global economy actually demands today.
All right, so how different are these models really? Let's put them side by side. When you boil it all down, it comes down to two totally different philosophies: rigidity versus flexibility.
And this really shows you the core difference. On the one hand, you have Germany's industrial might. We're talking cars, chemicals, heavy machinery. It's an economy built for massive scale. Then you look at the Netherlands. It's a much more diverse portfolio of high-tech sectors, logistics, incredible agri-tech, semiconductors. Their economy is built on interconnected networks, not just raw size.
Think of it this way. Germany's economy is like a giant, powerful battleship. It's incredible, but it takes forever to build, and it's really hard to turn. The Dutch economy, that's more like a fleet of smaller, faster ships. They can adapt, change formation, and respond to new threats or opportunities almost instantly. One is rigid, the other is modular.
And let's be real, in the world we live in now, with supply chain chaos, constant tech disruption, and geopolitical surprises, that kind of flexibility isn't just a nice to have. It is the decisive competitive advantage. It's everything. Okay, let's zoom in a bit and talk about the day-to-day reality for businesses on the ground. You can think of this as the operating system of each economy, all those background processes that decide how fast things actually get done. So what's Germany's biggest hurdle? You might think it's high wages or taxes you can see on a balance sheet, but it's not. It's the bureaucracy. It's this slow, incredibly complex system that acts like an invisible tax on everything, slowing things down and just sucking the life out of projects. And this bureaucracy creates a really painful chain reaction. It all starts with these ancient, paper-based ways of doing things. That leads to project approvals that can take years, literally years. And what's the end result? Well, investment capital, which has no patience, just gives up and goes somewhere else.
The second major roadblock is energy. Now, if your entire economy is built on heavy industry, the price of electricity is absolutely critical. And you can see the problem right here. Germany is at a huge competitive disadvantage.
And look, this price difference isn't an accident. It's the direct result of policy choices. Germany made the huge decision to exit nuclear power, which left it way more dependent on imported energy, which, as we know, can be super volatile. The Netherlands, on the other hand, just managed to transition more pragmatically. The result? More predictable and competitive energy costs for their businesses. So, what happens when you combine slow-as-molasses bureaucracy with sky-high energy costs? What's the final verdict from investors? Well, the answer, as it always is to just follow the money.
In today's global race for investment, speed is everything. Money doesn't just sit around waiting for some forms to be stamped. It flows to where it can get to work fast and efficiently, not where it's stuck in a line for years on end.
And the consequences of this are crystal clear. In Germany, you get caution.
High costs and slow processes mean companies put projects on hold or even start looking to move somewhere else. But in the Netherlands, it's the complete opposite. You have policy clarity and fast approvals, and that creates confidence. It attracts the very same investment that's thinking about leaving its bigger neighbor.
So what would it actually take for Germany to get its edge back? Well, the to-do list is long. And it's fundamental. We're not talking about small tweaks here. We're talking about deep structural reforms to everything, from slashing that red tape to completely modernizing its labor market. And here is the real kicker. That whole list, it's not some theoretical wish list of best practices. It's basically a description of what the Netherlands has already been doing for years. They aren't just getting started in this race. On these critical reforms, they're already laps ahead.
So really, this whole thing boils down to a fundamental difference in philosophy. Germany built an economy designed for stability. The Netherlands, on the other hand, built an economy for uncertainty. One was engineered for a predictable world, and the other was built for a world that's constantly changing.
And that leaves us with one big question to think about. Looking forward, what's really going to matter more? Is it sheer size and historical power, like the old industrial giants? Or is it the speed and adaptability of the nimble networks they're now up against? The answer to that question is probably going to shape the entire future of Europe's economy.